I met this woman on a plane from Lubbock, Texas, going to Houston. I missed my flight, first of all, so I wasn't supposed to be on this plane. Got on this flight here later on in Dallas going to Houston. She was coming from LA. This partner was owning a trust. Her husband was the person that was communicating to the property manager. She wasn't paid for over a year and a half after his death. And I say, hey, this is my name. Like, hey, I'm actually going to Houston right now. If I can turn this building over, would you mind selling it to me? We did a handshake deal there. I get down there. I fire the property manager. I say, hey, I have her blessings. I brought her with me. We have her blessings. We fired the property manager. I took over the building that day.
Welcome to the How to Scale Commercial Real Estate Show. Whether you are an active or passive investor, we'll teach you how to scale your real estate investing business into something big.
Noel Parnell is a Philadelphia native. He's been involved in real estate for as long as he can remember. He says he's always been a visionary, and he recognized an entry point into the field that he'd once always dreamed about during the peak of the Great Recession in 2008. Noel, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. The pleasure is mine, Noel. There are 3 questions I ask every guest who comes on the show in 90 seconds or less. Where did you start? Where are you now? And how did you get there?
I started out of being laid off from the Great Recession. I was working as a scientist at GlaxoSmithKline. What was the second one? Where am I now?
Where did you start? Where are you now? And how'd you get there? Yeah.
Okay. Where I'm at now, I am a full-time multifamily syndicator. And how did I get there is that I wanted to scale, because my ultimate goal is to eventually buy into a sports team. And so that's the ultimate goal. I want to buy preferably the Philadelphia Eagles, but a lot of stars have to align but you can also, which a lot of people don't know, you can syndicate to be minority ownerships into a lot of sports teams out here, whether it's basketball, hockey. I'm an avid sports fan, so that's my why.
Got it. Hey, I love it. I love the vision and the dream. I want to scale into owning a sports team. That's not on my list, but I mean, it's sounds interesting. I mean, why not? Why not? Somebody has to own them. So
that's right.
Why not you? Man, I love it. I love this. I love that again, that vision casting there. That's a lot of fun. So tell me this, what does your business look like today? You lost your job in 2008. You said, hey, I'm going to have to get into the real estate game, which, man, I think for anybody with the skill set you probably now possess, like 2008 would be just a gold mine for many of us going, okay, now we can just pick deals up. But you didn't enter into 2008 with a skill set ready to acquire distressed assets. How did you do it?
No, so I always laugh at this. I was a Barnes and Noble cheapskate. I would go to Barnes and Nobles and go to the real estate section, and it wasn't even sexy then. So I would put a place card, take notes, and come back to Barnes and Nobles every day for that. And I'll think back at it now. I was like, I could have purchased the books. I don't even know why. I would just go back. The placeholder was still there, and I would just take notes on what I wanted to learn. And then I was a little bit of a YouTube where I was going, all right, how to buy a property with no money down or with no money at all. And that's where like different things will come up, seller financing, things of that nature. But that's how it kind of got the ball rolling. And I think the biggest thing was my first property was house hacking, and the contractor did such a bad job. What I mean, I could turn on my basement light, it wouldn't come on, but the third floor light would. You know, he did. I had duct work that went to nothing, so it was there, but it didn't connect. So that was like, oh my God. So I started Googling and learning how to like YouTube and fix things. And that also was one of the catalysts, like, shoot, I'm doing this enough. I can do this.
That's wild. My gosh. When did you scale into bigger assets? What was the tipping point for you that said, you know, enough of this single family house hacking, there's got to be a better way?
So I think I look at it as, when did I create my financial vitality? So always really methodical, about my plans. I didn't hate my job. You know, I was a former pro runner, and then I went right into track and field. So I went to the Beijing Games. as a guy running 2008, and then went right into, working at GSK. And I didn't hate my job, just got laid off. But I read Tony Robbins. I heard him speak, and then he had another book called Unshakable that came out later on. But he spoke about having these financial steps of vitality, like what do you actually need to actually like live? And I marked out everything I needed, and I knew I needed at the time I needed 11 properties and duplexes or triplexes, and each door had to make $200. And that way, all I needed was $7 grand per month netting, and I would be cool. So that was my first thing I did. I secured my financial vitality, and then everything else was playing with house money. So I was doing like quad 7 units at a time. Sometimes I was averaging about, between the years of 2014 and 2019, I was averaging about 15 to 16 projects a year. And so I got up to about, I hold now about 78 properties that are like a mixture of duplexes and triplexes. And I went to scale to the multi-families that I needed to increase my net worth, because the ultimate goal is I want to have, I want to sit courtside somewhere, or I want to be behind a bullpen, or in the owner's box, doing those type of things. So that was the main goal. It's like, how can I scale? I had already achieved financial freedom within, 8 years. I was very conservative, but I achieved it by 2015. I supplemented my income, which was a high 6-figure income. I did that already, but now I'm thinking I need to go bigger because I want to own a sports team.
Right.
And that's when I got to the multifamily realm.
Got it, man. I think that's really, really cool. Yeah, the sitting in the owner's box. That's got to be a different feeling altogether. I know we're circling back to where we started, but that's a fun
Yeah.
dream on that side of things. You decided to get involved in multifamily. What are you guys buying today, and why?
So we still buy B and C class value adds. A little bit of the C I still do. I think primarily my group, Crown Capital, it's me and two other women, Tiffany Span and Lupe Child. They're both in the DC area. We predominantly do B class, like, or B minus is where we go, just because we're looking at we like to do tours. So we're not taking really our clientele and our investors into like really crap areas,
Right.
And that, not to sound harsh, that's what C class is. C class is low hanging fruit, and it's it's the common joke is C class is the crap of those buildings. So I have that silo with Crown Capital where we're looking for B class value add properties after 1975 buildings or later. And so that's what we look for there. But then the other side of it is that we still do some of the C class and D class properties. And that's part of our, affordable housing to make sure we kind of look at it as a slash business and stewardship. Because we do see a disparity of the separation of, building class and people and being able to afford things. So we know we want to actually bring out a great product for people in these, undeserved areas. Like, we can put a great product there. And I think right now there's a lot of fruit there for people that are trying to get in there in that area.
No, that's great. I love that. I love that. What's the best deal you've ever done?
Oh, well, it's going to be the latest one. It's this 20-unit building. It's a small building, but I got this building for under $5,000. And it wasn't vacant. It was when I got it, it was at maybe 72% occupancy. And so what I did was go in there and increase rents gradually on and this is January, increase rents on the vacant units. I imposed striking the parking lot, giving assigned parking. So I increased not net operating income that way. People that didn't have leases, I brought them up because the buildings were like, man, they were about maybe $400 under market. And so I didn't bring them up to 400. I brought them up to 200. I was like, hey, this is the market. And this is how you get with your clientele or your tenants, and which I say I work for them. It's like, hey, I know you've been here for a while. This is what everybody's paying here. You're $400. And I'm always straightforward. You're $400 below anything in this area. I'm raising your rent $200. I think that's fair because everything else, is going up. As far as insurance goes up every year. So that by far, that is the best deal I've done to date. And just give you a little bit background on this. I met this woman on a plane from Lubbock, Texas, going to Houston. I missed my flight, first of all, so I wasn't supposed to be on this plane. We met up in Dallas because there's no direct flights from Lubbock. Everybody, if you've ever been out there, there's no direct flights. And so I, in the January 24th, there was a snowstorm in Lubbock, and that's why I missed my flight. Got on this flight here later on in Dallas going to Houston. She was coming from LA. This partner was owning a trust. Her husband was the person that was communicating to the property manager. She wasn't paid for over a year and a half after his death. So I'm hearing her. We're in first class. I always tell people it's really important sometimes to fly first class if you can. A lot of things go down there, and I hear her conversation, and I say, "Hey, this is my name. Hey, I'm actually going to Houston right now. I'm actually going to Houston for a Robert Martinez, the apartment rock star. I'm going to his mastermind." And I say, "Hey, this is what I can do for you. If I can turn this building over, would you mind selling it to me?" We did a handshake deal there. I get down there. I fire the property manager. I say, "Hey, I have her blessings. I brought her with me. We have her blessings." We fired the property manager. I took over the building that day. So this is January. Now we're January 24th. We're like January 25th, 26th. So now I'm having to set up accounts so the February 1st rent does not go to the old manager. So I'm doing all of this within the 3 days and making sure all the tenants know, like, hey, there's a new sheriff in town right here. So it's really crazy.
Wow. So you went for a mastermind and ended up acquiring a property for $5,000.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, there's so many questions, and I know you probably want to spend the whole time, but this is a fascinating story. Why would someone get rid of a cash flowing asset for $5,000?
So I always tell people it's like you have to find out what someone's end game is and what her issue is. What was her problem? Her problem was that she hasn't been paid over a year and a half. Her mortgage is auto debit. And so part of that conversation is saying, hey, I will go ahead and I will ensure that that's what you're getting. Your monthly rental payment, which is for a P&I, was $7,700. At that time, the building was already collecting at $14,000 a month. She just wasn't receiving it.
So where was the money going?
It was going to the property manager that wasn't paying her.
Oh, I got it.
The property manager
was ripping her off. Okay.
And so I said, would you be interested? And again, for the sake of time, I said, would you be interested in a what I call a creative deal? I was like, well, what we call is a subject to deal. I was like, guess what? We'll go ahead and transfer the deed. I'll ensure that your mortgage and insurance gets paid. That means it's not coming out of your personal, it was actually coming out of her trust. So she was bleeding her trust. And so I said, I will make sure that gets done. Your insurance and taxes will be paid. And this is where I tell people, this is the risky thing right here. Because remember, this is a handshake deal. And I said, I'm going to take care of that for you. But you have to agree that you're going to go ahead for this. And you always give the disclaimers. There's a due on sell clause. Right. This can happen like that. You have to always move with integrity, people. Okay. So you always disclose all those. But the risk was on me because I'm paying, I'm already fully immersed. Right. I said, you know what? I'm paying this. The deed wasn't even in my name yet. The deed didn't get transferred over until maybe like right now, which is almost the second week of March. Okay. So that means I was doing things to the building, paying taxes, the insurance, and I didn't even own the building yet as far as the deed owner. Mm-hmm. Wow. And that's what I was saying. That was the risk part. But sometimes you have to have a little gut feeling there. But I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, man, it's risky.
Right. And for her, yes, covering that monthly mortgage payment was part of it, and also
Yes.
probably just didn't have the skill set to own and operate that building. She wanted out. It sounds like she
Out.
just wanted out.
And this is and think about this. Because we're in the process of refinancing that building right now. And so she's going to get some money because right now she only owed, let's see, I think 765,000 on the building was left. The building came in at 3.4. So she's getting that was another part of it. We agreed to a sum that she has. She gets her sum, I get my sum, and what the backside story of it is that she wants to invest in Crown Capital after that.
She wants to reap the proceeds and then turn around and reinvest it, man. That's genius. I love it. You've built
It's like being in the right place at the right time. The LLC is called Flight 5845 because that's the flight that I was actually on. So that was the flight. That's the LLC that owns the building.
I love it. I love it. Man, you can't make those up. Like that's just a good time. I've done plenty of subject to stuff, and yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces there, but when for the right situation, it makes sense.
The right situation has to happen. And like I said, you have to be at the right time. I still can't explain like this being at the right time at the right place that happened to happen,
Yep. No, I love that. I love that. You've got a lot of speaking of moving parts, you've got a lot of things that you are investing in. I love kind of your creativity. You sound, or it appears that you're very opportunistic and willing to go out and try new things and do new things. And I think that's a fun part of maybe your story there. You and I off air got to talk about your son and the amount of real estate that he now currently owns. Maybe you can give some more color to that story.
Yes. So I have I'm a new dad, so I'm so excited. But my son has 11 units now. He has a 5 unit and a 6 unit property right now. And so my plan for him is to acquire 3 to 4 small multifamilies per year for him. And the rental income from that will be separated in 2 different places. One goes into a self-directed IRA where I'm the custodian. And then you have another one, which you have, they call it UTMAs and UGMAs. They're custodian accounts for children. And what you can do with those is that once the money is placed in that, you can invest those into an SP 500 index fund. So I'm letting him reap the benefits of compound interest. So my goal for him is to be liquid at least $5 to $6 million by the time he's 18. And he'll have a ton of properties. If I still hit that goal of 3 to 4, at least minimum of 2, I'm not doing a 529 for him. He'll have the properties. Once I actually refi the properties for them, they will go now into a trust form. I choose an irrevocable trust. So that's the ones I use. So they're not subject to income tax and estate tax. And within those irrevocable trusts, you can have life insurance policies in there as well. So you can, I always say, talk to your estate lawyer and your CPAs, but you can really set that up to really set up your children.
That is awesome. I love, again, the creativity that goes into that. You didn't mention here on the recording, how old is your son again?
He'll be 11 months on the 17th of April.
So he owns an apartment for every month he's been alive.
Correct.
That's awesome.
And I split up half of my portfolio into a trust already for him. So I cut up my half and gave it to him, and but yeah, try to start him off right, man. I think this is what we go for.
That's cool. That's really, really cool, man. Your 11-month-old son owns more real estate than most people do in the world. So that is really, really cool. We've got just maybe 1.5 minutes left here, Noel, before we got to sign off. I want to hear, if you don't mind sharing, how you guys are finding deals right now. I think you've seen some shifts in the market, and I want to hear what those are and how you guys are finding deals.
Yeah, so right now we're finding deals directly to owner. And they're very responsive now to that. So a lot of the mom and pops that own, buildings. They have like units between 20 and 60 unit buildings. Some of them have some bigger ones. The children don't want them, and they're ready to get out. So I've been using different platforms such as either CoStar or Reonomy, and we'll filter by class, year built, and I have a team that's been reaching directly out to them, and it's been a very good response. Currently within the last 6-7 months.
Right, and that flies counter to maybe what you were seeing a year and a half ago.
Yeah, you wouldn't get anything without a broker. And and I would always tell people, if you're looking at some of the top brokers, then this is only my suggestion. Don't go after the top brokers. Most of those top brokers have been in the game for years. They already have their preferred list. It's better to maybe go in that brokerage and get someone that's hungry just like you and build that relationship with them. And you guys build to you or her, whatever him, whatever pronoun, will build together. I think that's more, viable than trying to go after the person that's been a broker for the last 20, 30 years, because they have their list already who they trust that's going to close a deal. The odds of you getting it are really slim to none.
Slim to none. Man, I love it. Noel Parnell, thank you for coming on the show today. This was lots of fun. If our listeners want to get in touch with you or learn more about you, what is the best way to do that?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn. That's my playground. So it's Noel Parnell on LinkedIn, and also can be found on Facebook at Noel Parnell. I'm getting the IG right now. I don't have one yet, but it's getting there.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.
You as well, sir. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thanks for listening to the How to Scale Commercial Real Estate podcast. If you can do me a favor and subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever platform it is you use to listen, if you can do that for us, that would be a fantastic help to the show. It helps us both attract new listeners as well as rank higher on those directories. So appreciate you listening. Thanks so much, and hope to catch you on the next episode.